All right, let's get started here. Sorry, I'm playing on my phone here. Playing on my phone instead of doing work. Where are you guys at? You guys should be able to see me. Make sure everybody's there on YouTube and Twitch. All right, good. I haven't been streaming for a little bit. I've been like super busy. In fact, I'm super busy this weekend. So, what I was gonna do is I'm actually do some work stuff while I'm sitting here working with you guys. Although I'm gonna do it in my home lab first, and then I'll move it up into the work environment later. But let's let's look at what I'm doing then. So there's no Ansible on my Werewolf system. So my Werewolf system that runs my cluster didn't have any Ansible. I just went and dropped some Ansible on it right now. So in theory, brand new Ansible install, literally just there, I should be able to, with a simple host file, so I'm going to go back to root here. I'm just going to make a directory here for, let's just call this Stigs, because this is a Stig thing that I'm automating. And cd into my Stigs, yep. And I'll just touch hosts, right? VI hosts. And in here, I'm going to start with a good inventory, right? Inventory is the crux of everything. So let's just call it servers. Servers is easy for me to remember. And I'm going to say Rocky1. If I can type right. I'm going to say Rocky1. And then actually, so I could do a wildcard right here. But I like to be explicit. This is a me thing. It is not maybe the best way or the most efficient way, especially when you get to a lot of systems. But for me, in doing something like this, I will be explicit about the systems that I'm hitting. That's fine. We could also use a wild card. I'd have to go look it up because I don't use it enough. But for the INI format of servers, I could just say Rocky. I think it's one in a bracket -5 and then a closed straight bracket. In fact, let's go look it up, right? Just because we're working on stuff, so we'll look up how we would do it. So Ansible inventory, right? How to build your inventory, and then we would come in here and we would look for, in this case, wildcard. Maybe not wildcard. Maybe it's let's just go look. They'll have it probably right about here. So I was incorrect. It would be, in my case, it would be 1:5 inside of square brackets. You guys see that? So that's how you can, if you want to call it variableize, or what most of us consider that a wildcard, or they're saying it as a host range. Okay. So alternatively, I could have done this, but I'm not going to. Right, I could have done that as well. I'm okay with this as it is. We'll just leave them like it is. And then now in here, I should be able to say Ansible, simple Ansible command, -i hosts. I want to use that localhost file. And we'll say m shell, and then the argument we'll give it will be uptime. So I want to see the uptime of all 5 of the hosts in my environment. -i hosts, huh. Oh, that should work. What the hell's going on here? Oh. You have to, so when you do, that's my bad. Because I'm doing, I don't do ad hoc as much. You've got to give the actual host group in the command line. So that's the command right there. So I'm using servers out of the host group and then shell. All right, so I'll hit the shell. All of these. All right. So now I've got a good host file. I've ad hoc'd it to make sure it'll work the way that I want it to. I am going to then get the tool that I want to use. I'm going to use a particular tool for this, which I think I have over in this node. So let's go to root here. I might have it over here. Maybe I don't have it in here. I thought I had this tool on this box, but that's fine if I don't, because I do know where I do have it is over on this Windows box. So command prompt, pull up Windows box. We'll do a little bit of Windows this morning just to push stuff up into our Linux machine, right? So cd into my downloads. In here, I'm going to do a pscp.exe. You also have SCP built into your system now, so you don't really need the putty SCP like I do, but I've just been using it for so long that I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to copy something from here up into my node. So I'm going to copy, it's a radix tool, and let's go radix, I don't remember the, hold on. Whoops. Oh, there it is. So it's, so let's say this guy right here, right? So pscp.exe radix v, and then you hit tab, it'll finish it for you. Put it up to my system, 192.168.11.245, and then we'll put it in just my home as Champagne for now. I need my password, and then that'll be up there. So immediately I'll see that tool right here. All right, then from this user, I'm gonna SCP the radix tool over to my werewolf root, and then Stig. That's fine. Stig or Stigs? I don't remember. Oh, I forgot that my user doesn't work like that, so I have to do Scott at, I think that's right. Oh, and then he's not going to be able to put it there, so we'll just go to temp. That's fine. Oh, so see, I have that keyed, so that'll just move it up there. All right, that's good. So now over here, I'm just going to move from temp radix to here, right? And then now I've got that in this directory with me. So I don't want everything just sitting in here. So let's make a few directories. I'll make a dir for files, and then I'll make a dir for reports, because I want reports to come back, and then I'll move the radix thing up into files, right? So now I've got a pretty clean little directory here. I can build my Ansible, push it to those nodes, do the things that I want to do with it, which is going to be unpackage and run it, and then I'll be able to bring my reports back and drop them in the reports directory, which is kind of my overall plan here with this little project that I'm building. If you're wondering what radix is, it's just another tool that scans for Stigs, just a different Stig scanner. And what I'm trying to do is, so on this project I'm on, we got tasked with stigging all the nodes in the cluster. There's about 200 and, it's a smaller cluster, about 260, 270 nodes total. But when we did our Stigs, right, we're doing it's a werewolf cluster, and then there are stateless nodes. So all we did was give a Stig report for each of the different hardened container images that we did as they existed on one node. Well, we got this response back that said, hey, that's cool and all, but you know, that one compute node is against 240 nodes, that one compute node image. So what we need you to do is we need you to give us a certain percentage of those back. So I was going to have to go and use my SCC tool and hit every single one of those manually. Well, I'm not going to do that. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to build this Ansible playbook. It's going to push this, it's going to deploy it, it's going to run it, and it's going to bring me the report back. So then when I go add in my host file, I add the, 20% of that 240 that I need, and then I need my, different like GPU nodes. So it's CPU nodes, which is huge, GPU nodes, all of these different things that kind of happen. Hey, The Real Sega, thanks for using your Prime here. I tell you guys all the time you could use those anywhere, but I appreciate it when you guys use it here. It keeps me motivated, right? So let me keep working on this. So what I need to do then is I'll figure out the steps of what I want. But first, before I do that, I'm going to steal something from myself. I tell you guys all the time, like, stealing is way better than learning how to do things, right? I'm going to go to my own labs, right? I tell you guys all the time these labs are useful, and I'm gonna steal something from myself, because, like, why not? Let's just go grab, here we are, Hetanis, right? I know right where it is. I've been using these labs forever, right? And right here, I'm gonna go to the beginning of a playbook to deploy an application. Hey, Robodom, how's it going? Thanks for coming by. Robodom's one of my mods to kind of keep things going on around here, so it's kind of good. And it's just J96. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. I appreciate the sub. You don't have to have any ads for a little while. Watch this real quick. So I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna grab this right here. And I don't even know what's going on anymore. Too many things happening. Let's go right here. Let's go to root. We're already in root. And then let's look at, I think it's down in Ansible. More deploy. We'll look at our deploy. Here's our nice deployer. And I'm just going to steal everything for myself. Thanks, Robodom, for the bits. I always appreciate that. Robodom's one of my mods. I told you guys that. I'm just going to grab all this. And over here, I'm just going to VI a... Let's start this as a... We'll call this radix deploy.yaml, right? And you can use YAML or YML. That's your thing. Most Ansible, it's weird. Like I came from the Ansible background, and a lot of times it was YAML, and then from like being on the Kubernetes side of things, it's YML. They both run, guys. They both run just the same. In fact, they'll run no matter what you put there, as long as you have the 3 dashes at the top. Ansible will be able to interpret it. Well, then it's got to be good YAML inside of the file, right? But let's do it like this. We'll just do a YAML like this, and I'm gonna drop all of my. Hopefully, I'm gonna drop all of my delicious stolen code here into here. No, maybe I'm not. Let's see. There we go. All right, so now we got all these tasty things that I want, and we're going to go ahead and fix some of these values as we go. So the name will be radix deploy. Servers doesn't have to change because that's actually what I called the servers in my host group, right? So that doesn't have to change. And then what we're doing, we're going to say we don't really need to be fancy with this, so let's just get rid of all this stuff. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to leave that for a second. But let's say copy, and in this case it's radix over, and we're going to then copy it from the, we're going to be a little sneakier here, and the source is going to be files, and then the deployer where we're going to push it is going to be here. So let's escape :wq ls files, and then there's the file within files, and we're going to push it to, on each nodes, that. We don't need a checksum. We could do the checksum, guys. If, like, the idea of a checksum, I've told you guys before, is if like you're working on a team with other people, and even if they have good intentions, they're not like trying to screw you over or trying to break shit running in the company. Sometimes you just need to know that it was your version of the thing that's getting pushed over to the nodes, and that is typically why I will like weigh my tar files. We don't need to do it in this case. If we wanted to, right? If you were like, well, Scott, can you do that for me? The checksum here is going to be a SHA-256 sum. So what I would do to get that in this environment is I would do a SHA-256 sum of files and that file. Actually, I take it back. That is a, that's a SHA-1 sum. I apologize. That's a SHA-1 sum right there. Yep. So then I forgot that. So SHA-1's not really used anymore, but it's still fine to kind of weigh things. So I just say $$ to delete to the end of the line, and I'll just drop that in instead. And let's create a directory for us to untar into. We're just going to say radix. That's fine. And then we're going to untar the deployer into into optradix. There we go. We probably will not have to do this next part right here, so maybe we'll just comment it out for now. Oh, I hate when it does that. All right, that's fine. And then to run the tool, we're going to do that here in a little bit too, but not just yet. And then we'll not worry about the debug just yet either. All right. So, theoretically, this should work right now. This should push, it should untar, and it should unpackage that exactly like we need it to on those nodes. So, all I need to do then is cat my host file to make sure I have the right list of servers, and then I say Ansible playbook. I can give the -i for hosts, so it explicitly uses this hosts. Yeah, Robodom, that's cool. What are you volunteering in, if you don't mind me asking? I don't know. I mean, you don't have to, like, bust yourself out for whatever you're doing, but... let's do radix deploy. This should hit Rocky 1 through 5. It should push it over there, and it should unpackage this in those locations. Oh, so the question was the real seg. I don't want to interrupt, but feel free to answer later. Just wondering when the 16-week course starts. Is there anything need to have her join leading up to that? I'm already in Discord. I'm likely to miss the first live stream as I'm on vacation. I'm assuming. Oh, okay. Well, that's my fault there. Yeah, no. So all you need to do. This is all you need to do for anybody that wants to do the 16-week course that's coming up. All you got to do is be in the Discord and pretty much be keeping an eye on this channel down here for Prolog projects, right? We've got a lot of people say that they're going to be coming to it, so we're going to do this every Saturday starting on the 14th of September for 16 weeks. What I'll be doing is down here, I'll be putting I'll start a thread around whatever the topic is for the week, and then people can just respond. I'm also going to obviously have a little bit of a lecture when we're doing that, and then we're going to do hands-on labs. So you guys can do the labs. I'll give you a worksheet, and then the worksheet is something that you can fill out and send back to me. I'll give you guys I got to make an alias in Gmail for my account and then send it over. Oh, nice. Nice, Robodom. Are they going to give you a hammer? Do you get a hammer for that? That's how you know you're officials, when you're carrying around a hammer. Yeah, so to answer people's questions about the 16-week Linux Systems Administration, it's going to be completely free. You're just going to be down here working through the projects. Guys, by the way, there are old projects up here that you can go do. We've done projects before together. This will be kind of like one of my bigger undertakings of this. And then people were asking about recordings of this. I will not record them live because I find that people will be more candid and will ask more questions if they're not being recorded. But then I'm going to go back later after I've worked through them, and I will record the session module blocks. And then I'll figure out how we're going to... I know I can put pretty big files up in Discord because I pay for the... I don't know, whatever Discord Turbo is. You know, it's the same thing on Twitch. I get some kind of benefit of putting up bigger files or whatever. But yeah, this is in our Discord. It's free. You guys can hang out down there. And again, most of you guys that have been around our Discord know this is just part of it. There's so many other things from other engineers and people talking that I think that's where the real value is in keeping yourself kind of motivated and keeping yourself working on stuff. You know, you got guys in there. Every Sunday, one of my buddies runs, Salty Catfish runs. Let's just look at the events real quick. He runs this one, which is the Code Cove, and he shows people how to be not just to code, right? Like coding is its own thing, right? You gotta spend nights and weekends and learn how to code, right? That's your own thing. But working on a team and understanding how Git works and project works and that kind of stuff, that's what he teaches you there. And he's been a lead the whole time I've known him about 4 years. He's been a software engineering lead, teaching people how to do that stuff and being the lead on the team. So he's really good, and he's got a really good whole GitHub project that's been going over there. So anyways, there's that. I should be able to make every Saturday. Other than that, I'll be in Virginia on vacation. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, the real Sega. I just want people to keep up on, the reason college, so step back a little bit and talk some pedagogy here. I am a college professor, been doing that for 16 years on top of being an engineer. And one thing that colleges really get right that's super annoying, look, I'm going to school too for my doctorate. I know this is annoying, but it's right, is making people post discussions all the time. And the reason that's right is not because they want you to go out of your way and have to do this arbitrary bullshit. It's because the more you focus on something, the quicker you pick it up. If you spend 1 4-hour block a week in the gym, as opposed to multiple 30 or 45 minute, what did I say? Yeah, if you spend 1 4-hour block in the gym on Sunday, you just work out as hard as you can, you're not going to be in nearly as good a shape as if you did it all throughout the week. It's a fact. That's not even like a question. That's a simple fact. And that's a big part of this. So I'm not trying to make you guys arbitrarily post stuff and answer back to me and stuff. Although I would like to see our Discord be a little more active, but that's not the reason for it. The reason is for you, same reason I ask you guys stuff on Mondays, in the Discord. I say hey, what's everybody working on? Because if you didn't do anything the whole last week, instead of feeling shitty about it, what you do is you start Monday and you just go, right? And that's a big part of it. I read that about, they tell medical students that, if you had a bad week, if you didn't study over the weekend, if you just did whatever, start Monday. Don't worry about what happened. Keep going, right? And I think that's really good advice. Also, another one, this is a special event coming up on September 7th, which is Saturday and, I don't know, weekend or so. This is an engineer that I know, Ash. He's going to come talk to you guys about. He's an engineer with Red Hat, but he teaches pre-sales. He teaches pre-sales engineering to people. So if you're like, I like being an engineer, but I don't really want to be like a systems administrator and like build nodes and go work for like different big projects. I just want to build stuff and get out of there. That's what pre-sales engineers do. And he can talk to you about what that process looks like and, you know, how to get into that with an organization. That's what this talk's going to be about. So I really hope people show up and ask good questions, because he's one of my favorite engineers to work with. When I used to run platform engineering at AAA, he was our rep from Red Hat. So he's been with Red Hat. He could tell you all about Red Hat before they got bought by IBM, after. He's been there the whole time. So I really think it's good. So the real Sega asked about my doctorate, what motivated you, in what area. I'm doing a doctorate of business administration with an emphasis in quantitative engineering, or quantitative analytics rather. I'm doing that because I am a engineer at heart, so I want to do quantitative as opposed to qualitative type studies. Let's fix this real quick. And then, gosh, that's my bad there, guys. Look at this. I didn't even fix my stuff. And then my focus of my research right now that I'm focusing on is, you know, there's all these, when you go look at like a literature review and you look at everything that's out there, there are all kinds of pieces of technical stuff around honeypotting and red team security, offensive security. I can go point to you, you know, hundreds of articles on all that I've read and kind of assimilated up. But what is not there, and what I don't see, is where is the most efficient. You only have so much time. What's the most efficient use of your activities? And I one of my hypotheses in my discussion is that there is no actual efficacy to doing red team operations. I ran red teams, right? I was in charge at AAA of our red team operations and stuff. And I see them, they're so hamstrung, and they're so like, well, let's tie one arm behind our back when we do this penetration test. And then, oh, let's not just tie the one arm, let's tie the other arm to it and hog tie ourselves. So we're hopping on one leg the whole time. And it's like, our pen testing is like, so, I don't know. So anyways, the point is that's kind of the goal of it. Let's rerun this. That's a high level. Not saying that red teaming is bad. I ran red teams. I don't think they are. People are doing them because everybody else does them. I don't think anybody's ever sat down and looked at if they're effective or not. Yeah. So untar the deployer, we'll untar it. Let's make sure it puts it where we want it to on the nodes, and then we can run into the next step. So actually, I'm a third of the way in my tasks. If I were writing this out as my tasks, right? If we were just down here, like etching out our notes here. Where are we at here? If I was just etching... Let's say I was just calling this my notes. One would be push everything over, right? This would be my high level. And then it would be run it. And then it would be pull all the output back to one place. Well, we've already done this. This is like, you know, strike through it. This part's done. Everything's going to be pushed over when we're done right here. So where's my little strike through? I don't know. It's somewhere in here under styles, right? Well, whatever. I don't care. Okay. So we pushed everything over. Let's go look at one of the nodes. Rocky 1, CD to opt. And in opt, we now have a radix. And then in radix, we have this radix. And then in here, we've got the tool that we're actually going to run to do the scan. So let's do PWD to get that path all the way down to our radix. Okay. And then we're going to exit out of there. We're going to go VI our radix deploy. And now we're going to... we don't need that one still, but we are going to need this one. Boom, boom, boom. See how annoying that is? Like why the F did it put all that space back there? Okay. And the radix is going to be run right here. And the tool itself is called radix. And then the register is going to be radix. Let's just call it output for fun. And then we'll go ahead and debug it just to see what kind of output it gives us. This one, we don't need this anymore. We'll just get rid of this. Good. All right. So now run the install and register the output, debug, and show the variable. And look, this is an arbitrary name, but we'll call this radix output. So we'll know. Oh, and then you gotta put that right. Radix. Now, there's an option here. I sometimes show you guys this. You can use verbosity. And then verbosity equals 2. And what that would do is, I'm going to leave it commented out, though. I don't want that right now. But verbosity of 2 would say, only if you put -VV in front of it, do we run this all the way. Yeah, the real Sega. It's just this idea that what we do as red teamers is a lot of activity, but would that be better just because, like, you look at, like, it's one of these things where, like, you look at somebody who's maybe read books about fishing their whole life, spent 60 years reading their books about fishing, but have never thrown a line in the water, versus somebody who was fishing from the time they were 7. You know, they were just out there, you know, they had a string and they were just throwing it out in the water catching fish, right? One of those people is going to understand fishing a lot better than the other. And I think that that's kind of like the crux of what I'm thinking about there is go look at, like, all the people that are in the cloud space, and then look at, like, what AWS and Azure and these other Google Cloud platform, what are they focusing on? They're not focusing on you being good at red teaming your stuff. They're teaching you to lock everything down. This is the people down in the trenches, right? Watching attacks happen in real time all the time. They're teaching you to lock everything down, tie everything back to a SIEM and a SOAR. SIEM is your security information and event monitoring, and SOAR is your security orchestration and remediation, right? They want you to tie everything back to, as events are happening, your system is automatically kind of defending itself. And it seems to me like that has much more efficacy than attacking. Also, I have a bunch of, you know, data and stuff that I've been reading where, you know, 4 out of every 5 attacks that came out of Russia. So Russia is a nation state that loves to attack. So is China. I'm sure we do too, but there's no numbers on what we do here in the U.S. But Russia, 4 out of their 5 campaigns that were offensive against people ended in failure. Well, if that's the case, right? If we're just talking about, like, and by the way, it's illegal for you to ever do anything offensive online. I don't know if you guys know that, but, like, if you're an American citizen or anywhere in the EU, and so somebody starts attacking your system and scanning and trying to get in, and you turn around and attack their IP back, you're immediately breaking the law. You have no right of self-defense. You have no any of that in the internet space. So that's an interesting thing to think about. Anyways, all right, let's see if we can run this now. If we can run this, then we're at the next part all done. Whoops. Shell. Oh, your register needs to be, hold on. Your register, that's my bad, at the same level. Because, so if you ever look at this and you're confused and you're like, what the hell is wrong with, why are some things indented and some things not inside of Ansible? The answer lies in what's going on with Ansible. So if you're using a module like file, and you are giving an argument to the module. So you're giving an argument that augments the way the module works. Like, in this case, file requires path and state. It needs those things. That is a argument given to the file module. Just like an archive wants a source and a destination. Well, shell is getting the one argument it needs right here. And this register is a function or a control, if you want to think of it like that, of Ansible. So it gets to stay out here. So if you ever wonder, if you're ever looking at Ansible and it's some things are indented and some things aren't, these are arguments to the copy module here. And these are arguments to the file module. And these are arguments to the unarchive module. And this is the only argument over here to the shell module. And then the register is what's coming out of there. So that was my bad that was indented. So let's run it. And while we run it, let's check on Ranger. I haven't seen Ranger all morning. How's he doing? So that's pushing over. We knew it was going to push over and untar. That's fine. Let's check on Ranger Dog. He was coughing earlier. Me and the wife were downstairs having breakfast, and he was like coughing and stuff. Register gives you some time. Yeah, register will give us yeah, we're going to see it here in a second. Yes. Well, unless it breaks. Oh, it's possible. we don't have Perl on these boxes. So let's do a so real quick, let's just go back. So watch this real quick. We'll do a Control R and we'll say Ansible, and then we'll look for this one here where we were giving a shell uptime, and we're going to change this shell to DNF install -y Perl, right? And let's see if now when we go hit those boxes, so this is going to kick off a DNF install Perl on all the boxes. I don't think Perl's on the boxes. Probably in. It's very interesting. Lib PM from Perl, so it's well, it's interesting. All right, so we don't have enough file system space on the box. So that's because I built these pretty small. So let's go look at those real quick. All these things have a tremendously small space. And that's because they're running tempfs. We can give them more. So let's go look real quick. Let's go see if we can bump this up here. So we'll go to Rocky 1, and yeah, he's got 4 gigs of memory. So tempfs will only use half of that. Makes sense. Figure out how we want to do that, because if we bump him up too much, he's going to use more. We could put, all right, let's do this. CD var cache. So what I'm doing here is I'm checking how much memory or how much space is used in each of these. I've got 199 megs used in this right now. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go here, and we're going to keep that just so we have it. And then I'm going to change this to rm-rf var cache DNF anything. So anything in DNF will be gone, because that'll save us 199 megs. And then I think if we do that, we should have enough room to do our Perl. I think this will give us enough space, because what's happening is, well, there wasn't a lot of space on these boxes anyways. This is Rocky 9.4, so basically Red Hat. It's basically Red Hat under the hood. This should give us enough extra space, I think. Let's see. So DNF likes to hold a lot of old stuff in its cache, so you just clear out the cache. Yeah, it's Rocky. It's just Rocky because it's my home lab. I'm putting this, so I'm building this on my home lab before I move it up to a project that I'm doing for real for a government customer. So let's see if it'll work. And there's Ranger. Ranger is not, he is getting old, guys. He was coughing this morning and kind of worrying us a little bit. All right. And then Adobe's popping up in the other screen. That's annoying. All right, so still don't have enough space. All right, we'll still get rid of that. Let's go look at another place. That's not using anything. So we can see what's using our space up here. So those are all legit things. Those are all things we really need. So, let's try one thing real quick. See what's mounted here. Let's look for temp FS, and there is our file system there. Give defaults here. Let's try changing these defaults here a little bit. Let's see if we can give it a size of let's see if we can give it 4. Well, let's go 3 gig for now instead of only being 2. Just see if that breaks anything, and we'll leave that as it is. Oh, whatever. Got to do our daemon reload, and then all right, so that's bigger now. So we might have to do that to all of them. So the easiest way to do that is to push that line, or to fix that line on each. But let's just go and give our temp FS. Let's just do it this way. It's only a few nodes. Daemon reload. Okay. Wait a minute. I didn't do that on the right line. I did not do it on the right line. Damn it, guys. Gotta save me from myself. Why is that root FS on that one? That's not normal. That should be... Yeah, okay, that's fine. What am I missing here? 3 kilocode coach. Yeah, it's just Jay. I do think the Killer Coda stuff will get you most of the way to like getting good hands-on, and then you just have to keep spending time and finding scenarios and working through things. Yeah. Let's just do this. Bigger. This is not the most efficient way, but we're just going to do it like this for now. Because whatever. So we'll remount that. Verify. It's bigger. Yep. It's getting one gig bigger each time. Could just copy the line, I guess, but there we go. I'm gonna just grab the line this time, because that'll copy it to my buffer. We'll do 5 real quick, and then all we gotta do now is hit it with the install and then run the package. Hey Doc, how's it going? Hi-hat, sorry, can you explain defaults in FS? Yeah. So defaults will take whatever your system expects for, in this case, FS. So TempFS will take, by default, if you don't give it any options, half of the RAM size that you have. So I have 4 gig nodes. It'll take half of that. That's why the file system was 2 gigs. Was it? So it's using TempFS, which is actually is held inside of RAM. So it's holding all of the process, all of that in RAM, as opposed to having a back-end disk for it, which is fine. It's just you have to understand that there's system performance there. Yeah, Robodom, I appreciate you coming by. Go do your volunteering thing, hit your hammer, do all that good stuff. I appreciate it. So we're going to see all the nodes come back complete on that. So now that they have Perl, let's go run our playbook and see if Radix will work now. I think it'll work because it'll have the stuff. So again, we gather facts, that's fine. We copy over, we untar the directory, we untar the deployer. There's a little bit of a, no, let's not call it a problem. They're all using the same backend, so technically I didn't have to do this. I think about it now, I could have just put it there and staged it and then run the installer, but this is fine for now. Let's see how this goes. Let's see if this just runs now that it's got Perl. Keep an eye on Ranger down there, doing whatever weird stuff he's doing. He's getting old, guys. Super old dog. Oh. Okay. Run the installer, register the output. So this is going to run on each of those different ops. It will put the output to its own directory, and then we're going to go look at where that output is so that we can then pull it back. Because again, these were our general steps right here. Was push everything over. We've done that, right? Where's my little strike? I need a little strike through. That's done. Now we can run it, which we had to go remediate the. We had to put Perl on it, but Perl couldn't fit because, you know, we didn't have enough space. So we remediated the small size of our home directories, which is fine, whatever. So now that's almost done. And then the last thing will be to pull all the output back to our local place. Once that's done, I'll steal this from myself. I'll go put it up on my little government system. I will update my host file to all the nodes that I want to hit. Because remember, I was telling you guys I got to do a certain percentage of my nodes to give reports out. And I just want to use this tool. I don't want to be... what I was doing was going and untarring and deploying my SCC tool everywhere manually. And that was fine when it was only a few nodes. All right, so look, here's how our system did. It did, out of 473 checks, it failed a whole bunch of them. And we passed 35. That's like a terribly low score. But now, that's going to be put somewhere in that system. So let's go to one of the nodes and look. SH Rocky 1. Where did it put that output? Is it in Radix here somewhere? Is it under reports? Ah, there's all my reports right there. So I may have, hold on. Yeah, so since everything comes off of here, I may have all of them. There we go. I do have them all there. But I still need to go through this process and pull everything back. So let's do that real quick. Let's, I need to. All right. So let's go and there's a tool. I've never actually used this. So we're going to go look at this tool real quick. And it is Ansible fetch. Whoops, fetch. Yeah, fetch. Quit trying to make fetch happen. Let's go back to 2.9 because that's the version we're on. And then let's see if fetch is there. Fetch will go grab a file and pull it to my local system. Hey Heather, how's it going? Yeah, we're grabbing information. We're pushing information. Let's go see if we can't pull this down now. So radix, we come down to here. That's fine. And we're going to say name pull all reports. So pull all reports back to a central location. We are going to use the fetch tool, right? And so that's going to hit every node. And when it hits all the nodes, we're going to say source is where it is on that node. So in this case, it's going to be opt. Hold on. Okay, and then so it'll be in here, and then it'll be Ansible host name. Okay, so source will be this. Whoops, don't need the ls though. And then the way the node knows itself is this: Ansible host name. And you might say, well, Scott, you already have it on your machine. Why are you doing this? In the system I'm in, this is not the way that it works. It's not opt being shared out. And then the destination is going to be on this machine. It's going to be reports. So get the report host name. And then in there, there's actually something I need directly out of there. Let's do our right quit and let's go look at them real quick. Hold on. We need the checklist. So we'll need something.ckl. Ansible host name. Okay, so in there it'll be, let's see if we can get this to work. In here it'll be this value. And then they're going to put that to reports. We'll put this around it just for fun. All right. Let's see if this fetches them all back now. Yeah, fetch is an Ansible module. Yeah, and it'll pull things back to your local machine, and it'll do other things to it as well, if you need to. In my case, flat allows you to ride the behavior of that with. Yeah. Yeah, and you can flatten it down if you need to rename it per host. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to flatten it. I'm going to let it bring the data over for itself. Let's just see, right? We'll rapidly fail and get back to running it again, right? That's the goal. Is if we fail quick, we'll just pull back and get the next part going, right? my main thing is, does the structure of that work, which it should. Ansible hostname is that right hostname for each of those boxes, so that should pull that back. Radix report Ansible hostname.ckl will pull in what's called the checklist. In this case, we only need gatherfacts to display time. I'm using gatherfacts to display time, and I'm using gatherfacts. That Ansible underscore hostname up there, right up here, that will only work if you've gathered facts. If you haven't gathered facts, your node won't know that about itself. So you do need that for it to work. Kind of a thing, you know. Also, I think the installer and register the output. I'm going to fix that name because that name's bugging me. So run radix and register the output. Installer implies that it's doing something that it doesn't need to do. Doc asked about semaphore UI. I've looked at it, but I haven't gotten to implement it yet, Doc. Yeah, I don't. I haven't gotten to get in there and dig in on it yet for any semaphore. I've been mostly just down in the trenches of I was hardening boxes. Yesterday I hardened a server, and then when I went down, it came back up, and this was a physical node, so I couldn't, it's not like my container images where I could just blow it away. It kept booting, and then the multipath for the disks was giving me, normally you would expect SDA to be your primary disk. Well, it wasn't SDA, it was SDJ. And then instead of being SDJ, it was SDH. Then it wasn't, and these were on reboots, then it was SDN, and we're like, because in etcfs tab, if you're pointing to dev, and then the disk, dev SDJ or whatever, and then that changes, SDJ1 and SDJ3 change. What we ended up doing was just doing it by UUID. So now, no matter what happens, where the system chooses to put that, it's always the same UUID. And that's how I locked that box down after our stigging. I was on pretty late last night working on that. All right, said it pulled them all back, but let's go look. That's not what I wanted to do, by the way. So, we are going to put that flat in there. Yeah, see, so it does that. Okay. So, let's... It's amazing. Get rid of all that. Let's VI our file real quick. We're going to rerun it. Where the fuck is my VI? There we go. Oh, whoops. So, let's real quick, we could, just for now, let's add flat yes to this. Right? Flat yes. Write that. And then, just for fun, we can do, let's fix this, run the installer and register. So run radix. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out because I already have a report. I don't have to keep generating this. I fucking hate that. And then let's take out the debug as well because the debug was going to break anyways. And then that's fine. So we're going to pretend to do the top ones, but we already have it. We're going to save ourselves that because there was all that execution time in there. Who cares, right? Let's just run it. I know I can just do Control R, but I like pressing up. It's something cathartic for me. Spelled it right. So now it's not going to do the other part. It's just going to run. It's just going to pull everything back for us, which I think is what we want. And then we'll go. Oh, I'm not even looking at the right screen over here. Sorry, guys. I haven't been watching stuff. Robodom's gone. We got the Discord link. You guys are welcome to come hang out in Discord. All right. So the question is, if we ls reports, that's what I want. You see that? So it pulled it back, and then it's got each of the different names, right? So that's done. That's done. All I have to do now is steal this from myself, throw it in my little sack, carry it over to, I've got my other project, which I can't show you, but this is my other node, right? And I've got different terminals doing different things in my environment, right? but one of them is jumped out to all of my different customer stuff. And that one customer is actually they're a university and then also a government entity. There's two of them that are going to be on the same set of systems, because there's 4 systems that look exactly the same. There's 3 production ones, and then one is kind of like a testing and parts one. I don't know if any of you guys have ever worked on really big. Think of like a NASCAR car, right? Like, let's say NASCAR or any of these Formula One cars. Do you guys think when they bring that car to the track, right? Like, they show up, they've got a team of guys to work on this car. Do you guys think that they have, for just that one car, just those parts that are on it? Or do you think they have like a whole bunch of parts just sitting there ready? Like, they can basically replace that whole car in real time. That is true. That is a thing that is true. But do you guys, probably most of you know this, there is a second car, almost always, not even the racing car, there's a second car that is also ready to go that you can strip parts out of and put in there. Or if the other car becomes unusable, you strip parts out of that, put it in that one, and that becomes the primary car. Now, some of you probably never thought about that, but that is how big supercomputing works. We'll have whole systems running. Like, I've got systems running that have hundreds of nodes in them, and their whole purpose is to just be picked apart for other systems. And you might say, that sounds really morbid. I mean, it is what it is. In the NOAA project that I did, I told you guys there's 2600 and 2600. One of them is always primary, and one of them is always secondary, ready to become primary in under a minute, right? There's that. But you also have another system that's running that can be basically cannibalized at any time. Yeah, if you watch how like teams that have to operate quickly, so you go look at like NASCAR teams and some of these other ones. I use NASCAR as an example, but I mean NASCAR, Formula One, any racing, they always have things ready to go. I mean, look at a sports team, right? You got all the 13 guys on the field, but you've got 56 other guys waiting, or I think it's 55 total on the roster. So you've got 42 other guys ready to go at any time if something happens. Yeah, so Lezer Biska said, what if your company doesn't have the budget to afford a secondary car? Look, that is also a thing. Then in that case, we do what we can, right? Look, I've worked in enough places where we are just trying to keep systems running, right? And that's the lower, that's where we start to squeeze more and more out of it. That's when we try to get our efficiencies out of virtualization, and then we get our efficiencies out of containerization on top of that. Because you guys have probably seen, when you've got a pretty good sized node as an ESXi box, you can get maybe 60 virtual machines out of it if it's got enough RAM and CPU. But you don't normally want to go more than that, because you start to introduce some risk if that one node goes down, right? Or that one host. But in that same set of ESXi machines with that same set of only 60 nodes, you can have thousands of containers running, which is why so many people are big on containers. Is it's a huge efficiency thing. And when I show you guys this, right, this is one of my talks here in the Linux group, right? We got our prologue presentations. When we talk about virtualization, where's my little intro to virtualization? Hold on. It might just be called virtualization. I sometimes show you guys this. Let me get that out of the way. By the way, I tell you guys all the time, I don't care if you know who I am, right? I'm a real person. When we, right here, you know, this is from a little thing, and it was like, if you've ever heard a college professor do that thing where they say, okay, is this full? And everybody goes, yeah. And then they go, no, I could put gravel in it. And then they go, is it full? And they go, yeah. And then they get sand and they pour it in there. You can always squeeze more out of this, right? If you're being effective with what you're doing. So like in this, we're not going to do this talk right now, but container deployment is a massive amount of density over the top of what we can do with virtualization, right? We're not going to do that talk right now, but I've done that talk before for you guys. All right, so this looks exactly like I like, which means that's cool. That that project was successful. If anybody wants this, so if anybody's just, and you're like, oh, you know, I just want whatever the tool was, right? It doesn't matter. This was my deploy. This is going to be my actual deploy and run of the tool that I'm doing. So I'll go drop that in our Discord. We always do stuff up here in Ansible code. This was an example I put together to do 3 things. 1, deploy a tool, Radix. 2, run the tool, scan, right? And then 3 was pull all tasty data back to one node for management, right? Because everything's always going to management, guys. Like, I mean, do you think I care if I scan my boxes? Not really, but security cares. Look, I do care from a point of I want a high score on my system. But yeah, this is exactly what I'm gonna go do now, and I'm gonna pull that back, and I'm gonna go run that. I'll run that here in a little bit. The only thing I need to do then in my environment is, in that environment, I'll update my host for all of the devices I want to hit in that environment, and I'll pull all my reports back in one shot. That's it. Clear as mud, right? Looks complex, but you guys just watched me build it, and much more than watching me build it, you watched me steal it from myself. Like, if you guys were here, I stole that all from a lab that I built for you guys, Lab 5 of the Ansible stuff, and then I just modified it to be what it is right there. Yeah. But Lisa Briska, yeah, if your company doesn't have the budget, you just go with what you got, man. Like it's the same thing with my lab. Like, my lab just works because I've got enough stuff in there. But I do need to start building out my goals, some things that I need to do for this, right? Let me go pull up right. So we run all the output back to one place. That's done. So we could say that all of our stuff for today that I wanted to do there was done. But what I need to do as part of this is now I need to, so these are my other tasks. I need to build out more Rocky nodes for the 16-week course. So 16-week course is coming up. I only got a few more weeks to get ready. I need to build out the worksheets. Let's say the I got the worksheets up there. Okay. So I actually have those up here. And then I need to plan the discussion. So, all right, so it's all these. I'm just basically stealing these for myself. All right. And these were the different topics that we had talked about I would for sure hit when we did our last Linux group. Normally we do Linux groups on Saturdays. I wasn't going to have time for one this Saturday, so I didn't set one up in the Discord. But for people that do want on Discord, you can always come here and you can always see what our different events are. Look, Cove, Sunday, every Sunday, Salty Catfish comes on and talks about getting in there and doing all this stuff. Hey, thanks for the follow. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. La Ray Ray. There we go. Oh, Doc, you want the PowerPoint now? I will do that talk again. I do my talks kind of as we go through and as I run out of other stuff to do. But I have a lot of stuff I really have to do right now. And it looks like there's a lot of people that want to do this 16-week course. It looks like we got 43 people interested, so that's good. Also, guys, I got to mention, like, this stuff is free, right? Like, just come do it. The goal is to get you guys doing more Linux. This course, like, I'm always hammering on, like, getting your hands on stuff, but this course will also be kind of academic in nature. In that, what I mean by that is this. Some of you are like, what the hell does he mean, academic in nature? What I mean is, it'll be approximately 50 theory hours and 70 lab hours. So what does that mean? That means you should have your hands on the lab a lot, but there's also going to be a lot of theory in that. When I start putting together these worksheets, there's going to be blocks in there for you to go type and go say, like, hey, I did read about what a blue-green deployment is, and I do understand what those pieces are or whatever. So this is the syllabus for it that I've been working on. I've gotten this pretty hashed out like I want it to be. And then I've gotten this pretty well set up, and I think I've got this. We were kind of looking at this the other day. This is pretty similar to what we're going to do for the 16 weeks. Yeah. Also, I talked to the professional Linux users group. Like, we've got our guys that have been around a while, the people that have come and talked to the group over the years. I'm going to try to get one of them to come on session 4, 8, 12, 14, and 16. So I'm going to try to get a guest speaker to come and kind of reinforce the topics on each of these different times, right? So this should be 21 September. I need a calendar. Hold on. Where's a calendar at? I just see a generic calendar for 2024 somewhere. Will somebody just show that to me? Boom. Just open the image in a new tab. Oops. Look at that. Let's see, is that right? Yeah, September 21st, 28th. I guess I don't need the 2024 on the, well, whatever. Screw it. All right, what's the next one? October. So we'll say 5 October. And then we'll do 12 October. And then what, 19 October. Help me out if I get messed up here. 26 October. Because if you guys haven't noticed, I'll get knocked over and just fall over really easy. Secret, how's it going? We're hanging out. You guys can ask me anything you need. Clay, happy to catch me live. Yeah, I'm trying to do stuff, and I got to run a college class in about an hour and a half here. This is the last day for my students to turn stuff in for the 2 classes, and then we start. This is going to be a wild week. Look, I'm working all weekend. I'm traveling on Monday, which you go, that's Labor Day. I'm still traveling. I'm flying out to Austin. I'll be in Austin all week this next week, and my new round of classes start, and I'm supposed to be physically in my classroom on Thursday. So I have to move my first week Thursday class in a classroom. I've got to move it probably to next Monday. So I got to actually talk to the college admins about that and make sure that I can move that first one. It's fun, right? Yeah, I'm busy. I'm real busy, but I'm trying to keep this together because I've been promising to do this for like a couple of years, and I'm like, I just got to sit down and freaking do it. 26 October, November will be the 2nd, and then Docker will be, was that the 9th then the 16th, and then we'll go the 23rd. And then we'll do the 30th of November. Now, November 26th is my wife's birthday, so I'll probably be a little busy that day, but that'll be fine. That'll be out of the way. And then let's see if we can do December. So system hardening will be the 7th of December. The 14th of December will be automation. Engineering troubleshooting will be the 21st, and then the last one will be the 28th. That'll be right before the new year. Looks like we're gonna get it all done. I'm surprised that we were gonna get it all done this year. There we go. So Secret asked about like the stuff in order around Linux or around learning. The best thing I can give you, Clay, is Secret is this. If you come to our Discord, which is free, we have a beginner start here section, and what we have in here, I have like a playlist on like my absolute beginner Linux hands-on, and this runs you through all the labs. This is like four things right here. I think I have like 4 videos in that playlist, and it's hours, right? Other than that, you just kind of hang out and pick stuff up as we go. If some of you want certs, right, you want to go get certs because I think certs are good to put on a resume, here's that kind of stuff. And here's 6 certs that are free, and they're free to train and free to take. Pit Bullet said, is there going to be kernel programming in the future? We might do a little bit of that, Pit Bullet. I do more of the system setup. I have rebuilt kernels. I have added things into the kernel and written modules for them. I don't do that professionally, so I don't have like a lot of experience with that except for like lab stuff that I've done. Like this is one of those things where like to do it, I've done it, but then I don't like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a guy who does. you would want a guy like, there's a guy on here, Last Miles, who's been working with like Unix forever. That's the kind of guy that you probably want to go to for that, or one of these guys that codes all the time. I'm much more of a, I set up and I make all the systems look the same, and I run the ship so that everybody else can do kind of everything on top of it. Yeah, and Clay, I've been a hardware guy. In fact, I'm going to be doing hardware all next week out in a data center. Hardware and switching mostly. Getting all these systems set up and ready to ship, because we only have another week or two with them before they ship out. But this will be our basic stuff. One of the hard things about teaching other people hardware, Clay, is I don't have the capability. Like, I can put you in Killer Coda, and you guys can do Killer Coda labs like right up and down from the beginning, and that's all Linux, right? But getting you hardware, like, you almost always have to physically be there. So that's one of the things that kind of sucks for that. So, all right. So we'll do this. Suggested learning approach: studying individually and within a group of your peers, primarily in a lab environment. As you work on course deliverables, you are encouraged to share ideas with your peers and instructor. Work collaboratively on projects and team assignments. Raise critical questions and provide constructive feedback. So I will be, for each of these weeks, I will also be making a worksheet down there that you can fill out. They'll be your own notes, right? The worksheets will be your own notes, but then also they will be like a body of work when you're done. Like, hey, I did this. I learned these things. I can go back and reference what I was doing or whatever. So, all right. But I feel like I'm stalling, because what I need to do is start putting those together. And what I don't want to do is work. So that's my conundrum. I have to do stuff, but I don't want to. I don't want to do anything right now. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it back on Ranger Cam real quick. I'm going to go take a quick break. I'll go give Ranger a treat, too, because he looks pretty sad down there, doesn't he? Let's go, let's pull up the hourglass here. And let's say Ranger treat. And you guys should be thinking about Linux systems administration. All right, I'll be right back. Cuddlingus, you're in charge until I get back. You guys should see Ranger down there with his little treat. All right. Ranger's down there munching. Clay said he's starting getting with the lab. Yep. Home labs are great. Clay, right now, I would say, give me a second here. I'm opening up a drink. The question is, suggest an OS to start with. I would, Ubuntu's fine. If I was like, well, I want to get ready for government stuff or high performance compute, I would spend time with Rocky, because you can do pretty good with Rocky Linux, which is technically from CIQ, if you guys don't know that. And then inside of there, you can run a tool called Werewolf. And there's a lot of good kind of high performance compute stuff that you can do inside of Werewolf on pretty minimal hardware. So you can get a lot of stuff set up. If you need help setting it up, I run it in my home lab and I've set it up on stream before. So if anybody wants kind of help working on it, let me clean my glasses off real quick. We're still on break, so. But that's where I would start with like a home lab. If you just say, hey, I really want to have a home lab and I really want to do hardware and stuff, then I would just start with, Simple System, Proxmox, or XCPNG on that system. You could, if you really wanted to, just run a big Linux box like Rocky or Ubuntu and then do libvirt and run your own containers inside of that if you wanted to. What is my recommended route to become a DevOps engineer from a sysadmin? Leisure Bisca, I would tell you go... hold on one second. I've had a fair amount of people I know transfer from being just Linux over to like DevOps. I would say the most straightforward, clear route to doing that is Kubernetes. So if the question is what is my recommended route to becoming DevOps from a sysadmin? So we're doing Linux all the time, right? We live in Linux world, but we want to be a DevOps guy. I would come to Killer Coda, right? Which look, guys, I don't get anything when you click on Killer Coda. I don't get anything, right? That's Kim Woosterkamp runs this site, and it's awesome. But here's CKS, CKA. I would come in and I would start learning like 20, 70, and 30. That's 120 plus scenarios to go learn about Kubernetes. I would start studying Kubernetes. I would find groups of people who have passed their CKA and CKAD and start studying that kind of stuff. I have a CKA and a CKAD. A bunch of guys in our server have them. But I would go in, I would start studying. I would try to knock out like, a couple of these a day until I understood Kubernetes well, because I really think that's your route to go over into that. Because like we're all doing Linux, right? It's all Linux under the hood. But this is really what a lot of companies want right now. They want that Kubernetes experience. So you can go get 90% of your stuff right here. Also, they have in one of these, I think it's in Kim Woosterkamp. He's the guy who runs it right here, Kim Woosterkamp. He's got one where you actually upgrade the cluster. So you've got like, I don't know, Kubernetes 1.28 or something, and they say to go to 1.29, and then you have to update it in the cluster. And that is a huge part. That's like 12 to 13% of every CKA is you have to do an upgrade like that. And he shows you how to do it. I think it's excellent, right? You don't need your own. You used to always have to do that on your own hardware, but now you can do it in here. Cluster setup, upgrade a cluster right here. So if you were like, hey, I'm going to use kubeadm to upgrade a cluster because I know that's a big part of the test, you do it. Cuddlingus, there's a lot of guys in our server that have their RHCE. They swear by it. I think RHCE looks good on a resume. I think you guys have seen like, and I think Sending Grounds is the other guy who's got a lot of experience with giving interviews. We don't, like, he won't even look at a resume. I will, but I try not to let it bias me. I don't care if you have like a degree from Harvard. That stuff doesn't matter. I don't care if you have a lot of certs, although certs and degrees show me that you've done what it takes to get somewhere, that you've went through a process. But my questions aren't going to change based on that kind of stuff. My questions are still always going to be around does this person understand what they're doing and some of that kind of stuff. IO fault said, I just discovered Talos Linux last night. Basically a minimal Linux distro, 12 binaries, spin up VMs to create a Kubernetes cluster. Trying it now. Nice. Yeah, that's actually a good thing. Like, they talk about how certificates work in the cluster, which I think is a thing that a lot of people need to work on and understand well. Ranger probably had to go get a drink because I just gave him a dry treat. But okay. So we saw Ranger get his treat. You guys saw me give him a treat, so he's good. We've done the Radix thing, so that was a thing that I needed to do for work. So that was technically work time right there, even though I was doing it on here when I was messing with you guys. All right, so let's go then, and let's start building out what a lesson plan is going to look like. So then I got to build out my worksheets and journal notes, and then the discussion post. All right, so let's go over here. Let's go back. Whoops, let's go back here, and then let's go to labs. This is where I'm doing it all out of. Let's make a new, we'll just call this a Word doc. Where the hell's Word at? You would have thought it would have been, oh, there it is. Let's call this 16 week. Let's say prologue lesson worksheet 1. Oh, I had a plan for this. Hold on. It's gonna look like this. It's gonna go unit 1. So it's gonna be unit 1 like that, and then prologue worksheet. Boom. So now that'll move down there. Good. And I'm gonna start doing this for each one. So each one of these are gonna get that same thing. So let's go make this basic little prologue. Let's see what we can do here. Now I'm gonna steal from myself because it's hard to start from a blank page. Let's go look at instructor. I'll leave my name on there. I don't care. The first date. Well, we'll do that one later. These are what my lesson plans look like whenever I do these. So this will be like week 1, unit 1. All these different things, and then Discord will be on there. So mine. Discord for topic. Discord. Student assignment will be 1 unit worksheet. It'll be just 1 worksheet for this week. All right, I'll update that as we go, but I'm not gonna worry about that now. Let's get this going. So it'll be unit. What are we calling this thing? This is one of the things I'm terrible at, is getting everything looking the same. How did that open twice? Oh, here it is. There we go. I just want to make sure I have a similar prologue. Unit 1 worksheet. Alright. And then what's going to be, every worksheet is going to have probably at least, where's my headers at? We'll have at least a how do we want to do this? Let's try it. We'll play with this as we go. Header will be, so definitions. Let's say lab. And then we're gonna fix this as we go, and then So it'll be. Is that off-white, guys? Like, is this white, and then is that like a different color? Because I'm colorblind, but that looks like that's not white to me. Like that looks like it's a light blue or something. Is that? Somebody help me out here. Like that does not look like it's white to me. But that's my color blindness, I think. That does not look white to me. Like, okay, slate. Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, okay. I was looking at it like going, why is this not? Now I know I have it as a heading, but I didn't think that it would. Yeah, the prologue, this part looks like it's in white to me, but this looks like it's something else. Blue. Okay, yeah. Block blue or slate. Okay. All right. Yeah, people were calling it slate or blue gray. Okay. Yeah. All right. So maybe I'll do this where for whatever week we're doing, I'll just have some definitions and terminology for people to go look up. Let's put up here just for fun. We'll do one more. Instructions. Fill out this sheet as you progress through the lab and discussions. Turn in the sheet to. I'm gonna make an alias. I haven't done this before, but I know I can do this. Inside of Gmail, I know you can just set an alias for like a new, and I'll just call it like Prolug or something, and then it'll email, and then it'll pop in my email. I know I can do that. I haven't done that before, but I've seen that before. Turn in the sheet to email for grading and feedback. And I will give you feedback on it if you guys want. We could definitely do, yeah, I could definitely do like username. That would be good, Mangler. Yeah. Also, what the hell is up with this? Hold on. I don't know why this looks like shit. It's Aptos body. I've literally never used that in all my life. It's either Times New Roman, which is what people use for if you ever do any APA type work. It's always in Times New Roman. But what are these? Why are these so ugly? Because that looks like straight garbage up there. Let's try it all in Times New Roman. I think that looks more professional. Although this definitely needs to get bigger and maybe even bolder. I like those kind of bold at the top. All right, so instructions. We'll have that always be the same. Let me go see if I can set that up real quick in my well, I'll do it later. I was gonna do it on a different screen. Format for screen should be sans serif format, and print should be serifed. Interesting. Yeah, that's probably fair. I don't know if anybody will ever print these out. They might. All right, so lab 1. I got to think about what we're actually doing in lab 1, which, let's see what lesson 1 is on over here. This is why I build my stuff first, so I know what I'm working on. We want to get lab access, CLL primer, and then VI Vim Nano. We're not going to do Nano. That was a joke one of the guys said, so I put it in there. But yeah, we'll get Linux lab access. Let me see if I can find my primer. Let me see if I can find my Linux primer. I bet I have it somewhere. Man, that's gonna be like down memory lane if I can find it. Oh, I just saw it. Oh man. You guys want to see something I haven't opened in a long time? Hold on. Man. Guys, do you want to know when I wrote this right here? Oh, shit. This primer. I hate when I can't see my mouse. Hold on. Man. I wrote this primer in 2009. Like a primer for my students, a primer for Like people that would, this was before even the professional Linux users group existed. This was like my primer for like using the CLI for people that didn't really know how to use it. And it was, here's our overview, how syntax works, how the command prompt works, how you get help, how the info command works and only in some, oh wow, this is old. Utilities, looking around, location, change in directory, system. Oh wow. We'll go over this in that thing. Oh wow. Yeah, there's a lot there. That's, I mean, that's simple stuff, but it's like that's really important. So that's actually, I have that in here as the CLI primer. We'll do that first day. Hey, thanks for the follow, Peter Schwinge. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. We are doing Linux, right? I'm building out a course for people who kind of want to come and do it our way or whatever. You know, there's a lot of ways to do this, but there's kind of the way that, you know, I've done it and different engineers that I've worked with, and we're kind of putting together like a little primer, like a 16-week, getting everybody to like the same basic level. And then we're going to do, one of our guys put together, I don't know if I showed you guys these, I think I did the other day on stream. One of our guys put together a really cool little, he's one of our newer guys too. He put together a really cool little, let me go up one here. In streaming, I think, and then images. He put together some really cool little graphics and stuff. So when you finish this, you'll get like a little certificate. If you do the whole 16-week course with us, you'll do a little certificate like this. Thomas Edison. But anyways, we'll build something like this out, and then you guys will have a little certificate. I guess you can have it in blue or orange. I think that's orange. I don't know. Somebody said it was orange. That's why I think it's orange. But he did some pretty cool little logo stuff for us too. I think is pretty fun. And then I got a little PowerPoint template as well. Actually, so for my PowerPoints for this, I will be using... let me see. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. I'll be using this for our presentations during that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I forgot he had made that. I'm gonna start doing that for everything. Kind of branding that into it all, so that's cool. Yeah, one of our guys did that. So if you need his contact info or you need him for any art stuff, let me know. I'll oh, actually, you know what I need to do? I need to find next time he's on here. There's like a little badge you can give people in Twitch now where it'll tell people like they're your artist. So then anytime he types, people know. Huh. Yeah, Doc, I only use Word because I use it for the college. So that's why I'm familiar with Word. I probably could do a lot of this stuff in Markdown if we wanted, but yeah. You know, I'm one of these guys, like, you guys have probably seen, people that have been around, you're like, you watch me do stuff and you're like, this guy he'll do whatever is like the simplest thing. I'm just like, I'm not going to bother working on learning a new way of doing things. So, let me think about this. Is this going to be... This is a good start. I don't want to just give people busy work. Word is fee. I don't know. I get word. You know what? It's funny. Like, actually, somebody asked me the other day. I think it was my boss over at Redline. Don was asking me something. I think it was him or somebody. They were like, "Where'd you even get Word?" And I'm like, I don't remember anymore if I bought it here, if I got it from AAA, if I got it from my college. Like, I don't even know how I have it anymore. Like, Word is really amazing. It does some good document stuff for sure. I use it for my college stuff too. Although there's a really good tool when I do my dissertation work. I'm going to be using. Have any of you guys ever seen this? This is probably my new favorite presentation tool. Have you guys seen Overleaf? This is slick right here. You can do it now. Look, you can run it with Google and use your Google or whatever, and go in, or you can run your own. Overleaf is open source, so you can download it, the Git, put it on a server, and run. You know, you can get the repository and you can run on your own machine and just publish your own docs. LibreOffice is good too. But if you guys haven't seen this, this is like really the standard for a lot of like presentations I've seen, like good dissertation type presentations. Because over here you just it's a basically like a markdown type, and then over here this is what your document looks like. So yeah, it's super nice. Like if we went and looked at some examples of this, let's go look at like a presentation or something. I've seen some really cool stuff with this one. Let's look at this one because this is similar. One of my buddies came and talked to us. Well, I don't want to open it like that. Hold on. Let's just view the PDF real quick. What'll happen is as you're talking. So let's do this. See across the top here. What'll happen is as you're talking, it'll start and it'll keep updating whichever one of those you're on. So they're in topic 1, and here's topic 1 across the top, and it'll go here. And then now here's the second one of topic 1. Boom. Here's the third one of topic 1. It'll just keep showing you like where you're at along the system, and I really think it's brilliant. I think it's just brilliant how they do it. That one's hard to understand because maybe it's in a different language, but my friend who did this, who came and talked to us, I think one of these is easier to read. Maybe we'll try this one. When he came and talked to us, yeah, it was the same kind of thing where you go page down, and then look on the right side, it's showing you where you're at or whatever. So I think that's pretty slick, where it's like changing these kind of as you go. I think that different ways look kind of good. Created training manually in LibreOffice using sections and master documents, made it better for overall workflow. Nice. Yeah, Middle Geek, I'm building a 4-day training right now for this government customer. And I'm doing it in Google Docs. And that's okay. Like I'm doing, so I've got a Google Doc of the overall presentation, and then I've got Google Slides for each of the 4 days. And then on the right before lunch each day, and then right at the end of the day I have labs, and then those will all be part of the workbook. So then when I go out to give that training, I think maybe late next month, I have to have 4 days worth of training ready. We'll work through it all, and then we'll get to each of the areas, and we'll have the people do labs and all that kind of. It'll be interesting. I'm still planning it out and stuff like that, but it's the same type of skills that you use for all this. Although I didn't find this wasn't going to be necessary for me to do for that training, but this is a pretty cool. Overleaf is fun. If you guys haven't gotten to get in there, check out Overleaf. It's got some good stuff. All right, reflection questions. So for the first week, some of the reflection questions I think are always going to be the same. There's always going to be what questions do you still have about this week, right? That'll be one. And then we'll have, what's another one? How are you going to use all right, but on top of that, so those will always be questions that we ask, right? But what we'll also do is I'll have questions around, so I don't know if I'm going to do that. So one of the ones would be like, I don't know if we want to call that reflection questions or digging deeper. I have in my other stuff, I always use like a digging deeper section. Let's do that. Hold on, let's do this. You guys ever use Vim Tutor? I've been telling people for like 15 years to go do Vim Tutor if you need help with VI, but I've never actually done it myself. So probably when we're doing that, and maybe even when we're in here, I'll probably do like a Vim Tutor and then just go and actually do it for once. Because like, I think I maybe made it to like lesson 3 of Vim Tutor before. I've never really done it. And I think that it would probably be good. I mean, I think there's about 37. How many are there total? I think there's 30 something. This one only says less than 7. That doesn't sound right. Yeah, I was going to say because it's less than 7.3. That's less than 7.2. So there's quite a few. I think it's 30 something total. 6.5, yeah, 6.4, 6.3, 6. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff. So anyways, I think it would be good for people to go through that and doing that. Probably in the lab then, as I do the lab, I'll probably have them do some just creation of files, like generic stuff like that. Yeah, Cuddlingus, I know it's good. I just haven't, like, I know my basics around VI and I can do all my things that I need, but I am not like a VI superstar like some people. Like I can do a little bit. There's a Luke Smith one. Is that a different what's this? Does he have his own? Does he have his own one that he uses? Or does he just have a thing on YouTube? Okay. Hey, I'm not a in these lessons, I'm not a look, in the college, I actually, you guys are going to get me on a soapbox here. Been a college professor 16 years. I fucking hate it when a college professor has like a section, like, because I teach classes that have like there's multiple professors involved. I hate when they just come in and drop a YouTube or something. I hate it. I'm like, well, why the fuck are we watching the YouTube in a college class? Why don't you explain it and then go tell them to go do that? But let's not watch that for 30 minutes in a class. That's stupid. Because any astute student's going to go, why am I in this college class then? Why don't I just go fucking watch it online? I fucking hate it. Like, it's the laziest way to be a teacher. To just be like, oh, go reference that. That being said, in a free course, I'll absolutely show this to people. I'll 100% show this. I'll be like, hey, use this guy, right? That's pretty cool. I wonder, he's using latex too. Here says actual Vim Diesel. That's funny. And he's got his actual Vim Tutor. Okay. See, in a free class, I've never even heard of Vim Adventures. That's kind of, let's see what's that. Vim Adventure. Oh, wow. See, that's pretty cool. I absolutely will 100% throw this in to this. Look, this is why I'm using you guys here. I will 100% throw this in for this and say, do Vim Tutor. Would you not know about Vim? To go to Vim Adventure. Yeah, like, guys, look, I am not above being super cheap about this. What's this other one? Guys, I'm not above any of this stuff.
Did you know you can AFK Bloods and Zaya will
He's had a fair amount of people watch this.
Go
That's
to
good.
roots.dev. We've known.
All right, go to. All right. You guys may have underestimated my laziness in some of this, but that's good, right? You guys got to remember, this stuff is not, it's not busy work because I just want you guys to be busy if you're doing this. It's people who are coming to the group. So people get motivation in different ways, right? Some of it, like I sit here at my computer most of the time working on stuff, and my motivation to learn things is I have to figure it out for work or for something that I want to do in my lab or something like that, right? But not everybody has that. Not everybody has, like, some people go and they work office jobs or whatever, and then they want to get out of there and get into engineering more. So some of this stuff to us might seem like, hey, he's just arbitrarily sending us somewhere, which I kind of am. But this is also just another way to go spend your time in something that maybe you don't get to use all the time, right? So that's, that's something to think about. Like, for some of us, we're like, and I trust me, I've worked with a lot of engineers over the years that are like this. They're like, oh, I just don't get why it's not as easy for everybody else. And it's like, well, all of us have different motivations, I've told you guys, I have 2 buddies, and I'm not exaggerating here. They can do calculus in their head. I know 2 different engineers that can do that. And you might think, like, Scott, that's not accurate. I'm telling you right now, you can show them an equation, and they will do it in their head and give you an answer. In calculus. I know 2 engineers that can do that. And they can't fathom why everybody can't do that. But, it is what it is, right? That's also why I tell people, like, I don't expect to be the smartest guy in the room. I know where my limitations are, right? Especially with some of these different engineers I've worked with over the years. So, all right, so we've done that. That's good. I'll put some definitions and terminology together around this first part, but then what I'll start doing is I'll start duplicating these sheets down after I get a little more. That's probably a good start for kind of what I'm working on. Let's save that one, and then we'll make those for each one, and then I will start to map that back to, right, this is why classes, if you ever done curriculum development, there's a lot of work involved with it, right? I'll just keep adding pieces to this as we go, right? And it will be, when we're done with it, it'll be a lot of stuff. Lab access, I'm going to give everybody access to their own Rocky instance that they can reboot and just bring back up. And then I'm also going to give everybody access to, well, everybody's got access to Killer Coda. So some things will reference Killer Coda, some things will reference your own Rocky instance in the home lab. Which is also another reason I got to figure out it's easy to give people access. It's hard to give people access when you're, like, not trying to collect. Like, I'm not trying to collect everybody's email addresses and all that kind of stuff. Plus, people are a little, like, weirded out by that. Like, I'm not trying to put people on a list. I'm not trying to get people's emails. So it's easy for me to give everybody anonymous access. But then it's harder for me to split that out for each of the different things. Tomorrow lab day. Secret asked us tomorrow labs day. We do labs on Sundays. It's what? Today's Saturday, isn't it? Yes, it is tomorrow. Tomorrow will be. Yeah, I don't know what that was. 2 gigs of RAM. Good catch. Yeah, 2 gig. Yeah, what the heck? Yeah, 2 gigs of RAM. That was my bad. I'm surprised nobody said anything about that. Yeah, 2 gigs of RAM. And the one in the home lab is 4 gigs of RAM. But the one up on Killer Code is only 2 gigs of RAM, and he's got a little bit bigger hard drive. Yeah. Let's not call this lab. Let's call this exercises. If I can spell exercises right. I think that's right. Okay. And the reason is because some of the exercises are going to tell you to do labs, and some of the exercises are just going to be their own labs. So some of them are going to just be lab, LAB. Yeah, there we go. I like how it goes back and fixes the one before. I don't know if you guys saw that. It said laps, and then over here I said labs, and then it went back and fixed the other one. That's funny. If you guys don't know, that closed captioning that I use is just PowerPoint in the background. PowerPoint's got a very powerful closed captioning. It won't let me swear, which I think is hilarious. Well, I can swear all I want, but it won't swear for me. And then it also uses the cloud. So that's all going up to the cloud. And you might say, how do you know it's going to the cloud? Well, because when I have networking problems, and I have had networking problems, that stops working. That only works when I'm connected out to the internet. Yeah, we have Discord. Who needs Discord? We have a Discord. Also in the Discord, there's events coming up. On Sunday, there's going to be some coding stuff. That's with Salty Catfish. On the 7th, so in a week, we're going to have Ash come out and talk about systems engineering and pre-sales engineering. If you are an engineer, this will be a good talk even if you're already a systems engineer and already working in the field. But if you're not working in the field yet and you're like, engineering's hard, but I like it, but I don't want to be like a systems engineer all the time, pre-sales engineering might be something that interests you. So this is one of the things. Doc, it'll just be in our normal. Yeah, the course will just be in our normal Discord. We're just going to do it. We're going to run it right out of our Prolog projects folder here. And I'll just be posting stuff in projects here, and we'll just be making discussion threads, and I'll just expect you guys to come in and answer discussions and all that kind of stuff. Let me think. I haven't decided yet, and I guess maybe I'll probably ask down in the Discord what you guys think. Like, obviously, AI and ML and all these things, they're here to stay, right? Like, this stuff and large language models, these are here to stay. In the academic world, I am ardently and vehemently against them being used. And I'll tell you why here in a second. But for this course, I won't. I guess I'll leave that up to the community how they want to proceed with that. I would prefer if people don't use those. And the reason, I'll explain the reason here in a second. But I'll leave that up to you guys. Like, do you want to be wading through discussion posts from people that are obviously just made up by some, thing they threw in, like some prompts in an internet? Is that a skill? Sure. Is that valuable? Sure. But so similar to this, like, so here's a question. I go to the gym every day, right? I go lift weights, but I have a forklift, so I just bring the forklift with me, and I just load it up with like 5,000 pounds, and I just have the forklift go like this over and over again. And then I leave the gym, and I'm like, guys, I lifted 80,000 pounds today, and you're all like, man, you must be really strong. I'm like, well, I used a tool to do it. Use tool. And you'd be like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, did you work your muscles or no? Well, it's the same thing intellectually. Like, I'm not saying that you can't get me the right answer for this course through like a chat GPT or something. But did you learn anything? Like, look, I've been telling students this forever. I know the right answer, and I know the internet knows the right answer. What I care about is if you know the right answer. And you knowing the right answer is tremendously more important from an academic sense. If we're talking college, I will always be opposed to it. And then people are like, well, but I'll always have a calculator in my pocket. I used to argue with my teacher. Sure. But you still had to know how to use that calculator. For anything more than basic arithmetic, you still need to understand what an equation was. Yeah. Look, guys, Google's been around for 20, almost 30 years now. We've been able to search stuff. And you could get a pretty good answer to a lot of technical stuff. Like, I could ask you the difference between like a token ring and a Ethernet 2 network, and you can go find, 30 different blog posts that somebody's done, right? But that's the same thing as just wheeling your forklift into a gym and using it to lift weights. It doesn't make you any better. So from a academic standpoint, I will always 100% of the time fight against it. But in this course where it's kind of like for you guys, I don't know. I mean, it's fine, I guess. Like, because I'm not conferring a degree on you. I'm not saying you went through the rigor of a course. I'm not giving you a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Like, I'm just not even giving you a blue belt. I'm just giving you the ability to go learn about whatever you want, you know? Yeah, Doc, I 100% agree. Doc, by the way, so what Doc said on YouTube was we had a guy who had an English diploma for working on a cruise ship. He said he will buy it so you can use AI if you want to learn first, and then use AI as help. Look, one of our guys who teaches and does all the AI stuff, and he works for one of the big cloud providers to come and talk to us a few times, Fisherman, he uses it as like he uses Copilot and some of these other tools as like a junior sysadmin sitting on his shoulder, and he's like, hey, go find this. Like, it's almost like a lawyer asking somebody to go grab the different reference law books. He uses it like that. Like, they'll go search for terms and stuff, and it'll give him blocks of code, but then he still needs to update it to be the thing that he wants. So he uses it as a reference for the things that he wants. Is Python a must for DevOps, Linux sysadmin, engineer, and similar roles in infra? No. I mean, I can use Python at a decent level, but I don't think you need Python. I use Bash for everything simple, and then I go Ansible when I need to go to scale Horizon. Now, with Ansible, since Ansible is all Python under the hood, understanding Python helps. Understanding Python for like Jinja templating and the way filters work, it helps. I cut my teeth on Bash and Perl, so I'm pretty good in Perl. But that being said, no, you don't need that. I don't think. A lot of guys that do DevOps at least learn a little bit of Go. But yeah, I mean, I can do enough Python. Like, I think I've shown some of you guys, like, we've got the 3-tier app where I show you how to deploy something with Python Flask, go and use that to talk to like a back-end database and that kind of stuff. So that's like, that's like basic stuff. All right. What else? What else do we have here? Somebody messaged me on Slack too, so hold on a second. Slack is work stuff. PM Eastern. Hold on. What is this? I gotta see what he's... Oh. I just realized one of the people was around, but that's fine. Okay. I could have went into a work meeting in the last 20 minutes, and it's like, no, we don't do that here. Not on Saturdays. I'll hop down in that work. I have more stuff to do for that project, but all right. So let's do... What do we want to do? I did all the Ansible stuff. Let's review the Ansible stuff I did, because some people came later and didn't get to see what I did with Ansible. Let's go do this for fun. I'll show you guys what we did for Ansible. Let's get out of here. So what I did earlier when we first popped on, I have a project at work where originally we were stigging. It's actually, so Werewolf. I'm using a bigger version of this Werewolf cluster than I'm using right here. I've got this home lab Werewolf, and in this system, if I do wwctl nodes list, I'll see all my nodes. And if I do containers list, I'll see all my container list. I'll see my containers. Let me show you guys this real quick. And might take a second to enumerate or whatever. Lock and Trust said, this is amazing, very talented, thanks. Yeah, I feel, I had to read that out loud, by the way. No, I'm just kidding. The goal of this, guys, is to get you doing this professionally. If you want to be an engineer, if you want to do this stuff, we do it for fun, right? Like we're all hobbyists. This is my home lab. We do it for fun, but this can also be valuable to do as a professional, right? So real quick, and then there's also profiles. So watch this. And oh, God damn it! I wish I could do anything right. So inside of Werewolf, we've got, here's my nodes, and I'm going to build more nodes. But all the nodes are using this default profile. And then within the default profile, they're all using at least one of these images here. And the image, I can go, sorry, this image is a container. It's a container image. But I can go and I can update these containers and modify these containers and reboot these nodes and pull down the new container images, right? So the reason I bring that up is like this. For this stigging process that we're doing, I want you guys to back up and think of something. I'm stigging the image and hardening the image, and then I'm deploying it on nodes. Well, in my home lab, it's a very small little set of nodes. I see 5 nodes. I see 4 of these images. I'm only using 1. But this becomes really important in the cluster I'm building that has 300 nodes. One of these might be like my hardened compute image, and it's against 240 compute nodes. So what happened was, and this is what I was saying earlier for people that missed it, was in my professional world, they said I had provided stigs for all of these hardened images. And they said, you're running them on 240 nodes. We need a percentage of those nodes to be scanned to verify that this is right. And I said, okay, that's a hassle. That's a bitch. I was having to go and run my individual tool on each node. So I said, I'm not going to do that anymore. So what we did was today, we came in here, if I could get my system to go, and we put all of those hosts in a low host file, super simple host file, Rocky 1 through 5. It's going to represent all our nodes. We could have also done this. I was showing that this is the wild card to hit them all in one line, but maybe you want to be verbose for some reason, whatever. And then we made this little deployment. And this deployment did 3 things. There's 3 things it does. It pushes over the file and extracts it. That's the one thing. Then it's going to run it, which we pulled that off, where it runs it. And then we make it pull everything back to here. So let's actually fix that because let's do a live run for everybody. Set the background equal to dark so you guys can see. And then again, super annoying how they frickin' do that. But register right there. Okay. Same thing. Debug bar verbosity. Okay. All right. So now we're going to run this. Let's rerun this in our environment. So we'll just say Control-Shift-R, Ansible playbook. Yep, Ansible. If I could spell. Right, so we'll run that. This is going to go and it's going to push that deploy everywhere. It's going to run, and then it's going to pull back a report of all of those nodes for me. And I needed to do that for my, for a professional project. But I built it in my home lab for fun to show you guys kind of how that worked. So it's going to push everything over. It's going to untar the deployer. Let that do its thing. And we're going to go from there. Oh man, wish I could log into my phone, damn it. Alright. Okay, so we're going to run Radix on the thing. Radix is a tool. It's maintained by somebody, but I'm pretty sure it's open. You can just go download it and run it. And then it's going to pull everything that I need to down to my system when it's done. So from one machine, push out to all the machines, run the scans, and then pull them back to one centralized place so that everything's easier to manage. And now I'm only doing it against 5 nodes here, but in my work environment, I'm going to go update that Ansible file and push it to probably 30 nodes I'm going to have to run on. Yeah, it is parallel. So Uzoki asked, is it running in parallel? Ansible always kicks off against however many number of devices you have forked. So you have a certain number of default forks, which I think is 20 nowadays. but you could set it to like 100. It'll fork against all those nodes, and then yes, it will populate this list in the order that things come back. So look, 1, 2. This happens to be in order. 5, 3, not in order, and then 4 is the long pole in the tent here, where it's waiting the longest. Now it's going to pull all those back, and if I CD into reports, I should have those reports right here. And if I do an ls-l on them and the date, I should see that they were just updated right now. Yep. So that is the most updated version of that. And then in my home lab, it'll be setting in there equal. Maybe set a mod line in your, hold on, def. My YAML files vim equals bg equals start. Yeah, I could probably do that. I probably need to set that in general. Daft Duck, but I just set it. I do it every time because it's fun. I'm kind of lazy too. I know I can go set that. I know I can go set that somewhere in my VI editor settings somewhere too. I just never bothered to do it. Okay, so we've got the reports all pulled back. They get this weird setting where only root can read them. That's not that big of a deal right now. Yeah, Uzoki, Ansible will go and hit as many in whatever order as the number of forks you have, yes. You can, yes, yeah, it'll do things in parallel, 100%. Yep. So you can affect the number of forks, and then the only thing that's going to limit you is the typically the CPU and memory on your local box. I've run Ansible against the most I've run it in one run is a little over 3,000 nodes, and it's only limited by the amount of memory and CPU of the box that you've got. So typically when I do that, I'll fork it at like 500 or something, and then it's only doing so much at a time, but it's still got to hold all the variables open the whole time. So all right, so that's that. That's the report. That's exactly what I'm going to be using. I'm going to actually just steal this whole thing for myself and go put it up on the system that I'm working on, and then I'll go update all my hosts and I'll pull everything back. Uzoki said, interesting, is that kind of how Kubernetes high availability works? No, because so Ansible only does, well, by default, Ansible only does push mentality. So from one central node via SSH or RDP, or typically not RDP. We use another port. We use a WinRM for Windows. WinRM is 5985, right? Yeah, and we push to Windows that way. I'm thinking here, but Ansible is a centralized location pushing almost universally. What you can do is you can make Ansible run on each node and pull their configurations down if you want. There is a way to do that. That is highly efficient in big environments. That tends to be the way that I build things and run them for like startup of like bare metal startup. Because one of the activities, so if you guys have ever done, again, high performance compute stuff, a lot of times like when I worked out at like AAA and I had thousands of nodes and I was the platform engineering lead, the chance of us having to turn on all of those nodes at once was almost nil. There was almost no time ever when all of our nodes were ever going to be off. Even if there was like a major power outage, it was only in one of our data centers. The other nodes were still up. So it's a little different mentality than like how supercomputing works. Because when we deploy a brand new supercomputer, one of the tasks that, and supercomputing and high performance compute are used interchangeably, but typically high performance compute is the type of thing you're doing. Supercomputers are the application of it. But that's, I mean, at that point, you're like taking a little hair and splitting that hair, right? Like, it's all supercomputing. But my point is, one of the tasks with a supercomputer, when we go put it out on the floor somewhere, we've been building it back in a data center somewhere. Like, I'm going out to Austin to work in a data center of a factory before something gets shipped. And I'm going to be working on some of my nodes and some of my networking. When you do stuff like that, and you know, when you're out there and you're working on stuff, and then you take it out to the place and put it on the floor, one of the things we almost always do, you know, you get it all aligned and everything like that. Typically facility guys will do that. Get all cabled back up and everything's up and running. We will do a startup from bare metal. Everything's down. and we will have a startup sequence of everything that's happening, kind of like we're starting a shuttle from scratch, or if you've ever seen like a pilot go through his whole checklist. It's that same type of thing. We start the whole thing up and power it up and get it running and moving, and then we remediate any things that we need to, and then we continue on. I don't know where I was going with that, except that's a different mentality than we get in other types of systems administration. There's never been a time when I like had to plan at like a big like AAA or any of these corporations where you've got like a lot of servers where I'm like, all right. The scenario is now we just turn everything off. Never happens. Literally doesn't even make sense. You're just always building the new stuff in front of it and moving forward over it. Kind of looks like, if you've ever seen a little magnet and that little sand, you guys ever seen that magnetic sand and it'll slowly swallow the magnet? It's like that same concept. You're constantly moving your fleet of servers forward, but not in supercomputing. We will turn a whole thing off and bring it all the way back up just to prove that it'll come back up. So that's an activity that happens every now and then in the supercomputing world. All right. What else do we have to do? So we did that. That was what we worked on earlier. By the way, that code, if you're like, oh, that's interesting, where can I get a hold of that code? We put that up in the Ansible. We always put stuff up here for you guys, Ansible code. So this was, deploy the tool, Radix. There's some tool, any tool you wanted. Run the scan, whatever that scan is, and then pull all the tasty data back. And that was how that worked right there. I guess I could pull that other stuff off. At work, they had a cold start of a DC and a physical server for security keys in the key servers, and the code for the safe was protected. Those security, to bread, they have, yep. There are times when we do, and a lot of times we'll call those tabletop exercises where we'll walk through and we'll actually call on the next person on the list, and they'll say, yes, I am doing this. I have started my nodes, and even if it's a practice, and it'll be like, I have started my nodes up. I have checked this. I'm handing it back to you to send over to the next part. And the more you kind of get good at doing that, the better those activities are, the better those things work. And a lot of times those will be on what we call a bridge call, and one person will be in charge of the meeting, and they'll be calling on people, and somebody on their team will be taking notes. And this is like engineering stuff right here. But no, it's definitely different than how like Kubernetes high availability works. Kubernetes is a whole bunch of pods, and then we put a service in front of it, and the service has endpoints to each of those pods, and then when we want to update those pods, we just point the service at the new pods or whatever. I have some labs on how to do that, Uzochi, if you need them. You just go to Killer Coda. Where's Killer Coda at? Hold on. There's Ranger Dog. Go to Killer Coda, and you go to like the Het Tanis labs. You go to Ansible labs, and Kubernetes labs. And there's like a blue-green deploy and a canary deploy, and those will help to show how this works. So like, here's what a blue-green deploy looks like. Right? So you've got this, we're all on blue, and the web service cluster IP is pointing at the blue deployment, and then when we're ready, we just cut it over. That's a blue-green deployment right there. There is no canary, there's no one-box deployment, there's no percentage here. This is just a cutover, hard cutover, blue to green environments. You better have done all your testing. You better have done your regression and your, all your different types of testing here. That's one way to do things. The other way, which is also a way, this is more of what people think about when they talk about high availability. Both of these are valid ways to cut over. You just need to know why. I'll use this right here all day in a dev environment. I don't give a shit. This is dev. Flip over. In a prod environment, we tend to do this more. This is more what a prod environment might look like right here. And in that prod environment, you're starting with everybody over on Canary 1, and you want to move to the Canary 2 service. But to do that, you bump up the size of the Canary version 1, and then you straddle both. So now you've got 80% going here and 20% here, as it shows right there, right? And then when you're good and you feel like that one's taking the load and doing what it should, you just cut everything over to V2, and then V1 can slowly be deleted or gotten rid of or whatever things you want to do. Those are what those labs teach. Those two labs right there. Is this, this is more the way we do it in prod, versus this is the quick and dirty, but this is much more of like a dev way of doing things. And your devs should be able to flip these as fast as they want. Like in a dev environment, because maybe you're going through like 10 different versions of a green deployment and you just keep rolling it forward over and over again. Who gives a shit? In a lower environment, do it. But in an upper with like a prod environment and you're facing the customers, don't do that. Don't make the customers have to see broken stuff. All right. I've got a few things that I can do here. I can start building out more Rocky nodes for the lab. I'm going to have... let's see. Let's pull this back up over here. Let's pull this. So we kind of built out the first of the unit worksheets. We've kind of put that together. Where the heck is that? This is kind of like the first little worksheet that's going to come around. I'll probably do that as a PDF when it comes out, so then people have it as a PDF. I probably won't do it as a Word doc because I don't think a lot of people probably have like Word, or I guess some people might have LibreOffice, but yeah. All right. Then I'm going to have labs too. This is a lab for one specific type of system. This was our RAID, and then I changed it over for the Rocky 9.3. So you'll actually jump into the Rocky environment and do this lab. And this one's actually pretty close to being done, so maybe I'll clean that one up and do it here soon. We'll get that going. What else? We've got a Discord. Let me link the Discord for people that want to join. There's the Discord on the Twitch side, and there it is on the YouTube side for people. I've been hammering this, but I still want to emphasize there's events that are coming up that you guys are welcome to go to. We've got the Code Cove every Sunday. That's for guys who are wanting to be more software engineers and want to work with a very senior software engineer lead that I know. And he streams sometimes too. We've been trying to get him to stream more. He'll be on tomorrow at 1 p.m. If you look at it in Discord, it'll be in your local time. And then we've got the pre-sales engineering coming. That I really think that's going to be a talk to not miss. And then we've got our ProLug 16-week Linux system administration course that I've been kind of putting together. And we'll be working through that. We'll be doing discussions, and then have all that stuff going. So, all right. I'm gonna tell you guys what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take a break because I have a college class to run in 15 minutes. It's like a study group. If nobody comes to that one, and if nobody comes to the next one, I will probably hop back on in a couple of hours, and I'll probably have some renewed vigor around this and getting some of this stuff a little more I don't want to say organized, but a little more set up. And probably over the next few weeks, I'm also going to probably have some volunteers. I might even have a smaller subset that are doing the stuff early, like doing the weeks early, so that I just have it all cleared up for everybody else. I don't like doing, like a lot of times I don't like doing stuff that's like half-assed, which is funny because in my lab, you're probably like, God, you never finish anything. I know. But when I do stuff that's like production for people, I want there to be some value to it, right? I don't want people to just show up and be like, oh, what's a 16-week course? Oh, he's not even organized. Like, the guy's just sitting around telling us stories. I don't really want to do that. I want it to be directed. It's the same reason, some of you guys know, it's the same reason for a long time I wouldn't put stuff up on YouTube. Because I'm like, if it's on YouTube, I want it to have some, like, weight, some quality to it. That's why there's only, like, I only have, like, 5 or 6 videos that are up on YouTube that aren't like the live streams, and those ones are all like more. They're more like stable things. By the way, if you guys haven't looked lately, and for people that are on YouTube, this is a good thing. I have the set of my actual videos. We've got some people that came and they were guest speakers at the beginning of this month. One came, Michael Pessa came and talked about eBPF. Fisherman came and showed you guys how to do AI and large language model type stuff. He just passed his AI practitioner with AWS, so he's got like 7 or 8 of the AWS certs now. So you guys should be asking him questions down the Discord around getting those certs and how do you get into there. He also tells you guys how to go work at AWS because he negotiated and navigated that process, and he actually did a talk that was really good on how to deal with, you know, they want you to do this stuff, they want you to send you over this information, make sure that you're keeping up on it. And he had found out early on that a lot of that, like if they have 5 people that they want but they only have 3 roles and somebody meets the conditions they need, they'll take that person, whoever turns stuff in first. So he was very quick on turning stuff in so that he kept moving forward through the process until he got hired. And he's like, he just kind of played the game. And you guys can ask him about that stuff. That's Fisherman. He streams too. We're trying to get him to stream more. But he streams as well, typically later at night in the U.S. So, all right. I'm going to go pop it over to end of stream. Let's go find somebody to raid. Whisper asks, do you guys prefer some other stacks for K8's monitoring other than Cube Prox or Prom stack? I'm a big fan of anything going to Prometheus, Whisper. I think that anything going to Prometheus is good. Prometheus is kind of the standard. Oh, I got to work on my PCA. That reminds me. But okay, let's go find somebody to raid real quick. Who am I following? Who's out there doing stuff? Let's go raid over to... Rob is doing stuff. Let's go see... Let's go find somebody in my same category that's doing some stuff. See if anybody's doing fun stuff with Linux. I don't see anything with Linux going on. This is supposed to be... Let's go look for Linux. Who's doing Linux? Yeah. Alright. I'm not going to spend any more time looking. Alright guys, we won't raid out today. I'm sorry. I tried to raid us somewhere, but let's just call it here, and I will probably be back on later. I appreciate you guys all coming by. I will see